Imagine working a brutal 12-hour shift, coming home exhausted with groceries in your hands, and your stepdaughter, the one you've raised and paid for since she was 9, doesn't even look up from her phone and says, "Why don't you just disappear?" And then your wife, the woman you've been funding for 8 years, looks at you and says, "You know what? We'd probably be better off without you." Most men would beg, cry, try to fix it. But this dude, he's a former federal marshal who literally knows how to make people vanish. So he looks them dead in the eye and says one word, "Okay." Then he walks out and takes everything, the house, the cars, the power, the money, all of it. Within 72 hours, her BMW gets repossessed, the electricity's shut off, her boutique's locked down, and she's sitting in the dark wondering what the hell just happened. And when she finally realizes he's not coming back to save her, it's already too late.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Before we dive into this absolutely insane story, let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone you love look you dead in the eye and tell you to disappear? Like, straight up tell you they'd be better off without you? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is the most savage comeback story you'll ever hear. Picture this. A man walks into his kitchen after working a brutal 12-hour shift, holding grocery bags, exhausted. His stepdaughter doesn't even look up from her phone and says, "Why don't you just disappear?" And then his wife, the woman he's been funding for years, agrees with her. She literally says, "We'd probably be better off without you." Most guys would cry, beg, try to fix things. Not this dude. He looks at them both, stays ice-cold calm, and says one word, "Okay." Then he disappears. But when he vanishes, he takes everything with him. The house, the cars, the credit cards, the power, the money, everything. And by the time they realize what's happening, it's way too late. If you want to see how this man turned "deal with it" into the most epic revenge story ever, smash that subscribe button right now, because this ending is absolutely perfect. So let's set the scene. This is Tom Callahan, 43 years old, owns a computer repair shop called Callahan Tech Solutions. Nothing fancy, but it's profitable. Dude built it from nothing over 15 years. He fixes broken laptops, crashed hard drives, corrupted files for a living. He's good at taking damaged things and making them work again. But standing in his kitchen that day, looking at his wife Monica and her daughter Brittany, the stepdaughter he'd raised since she was 9, he realizes something brutal. Some things are just too broken to fix. "Why don't you just disappear?" Brittany says, not even looking up from her perfectly manicured nails tapping on her phone screen. The entitlement is dripping from every word. Tom's standing there holding 2 bags of groceries. He just worked a 12-hour shift. He's exhausted. And this is the greeting he gets? Monica, his wife of 8 years, looks up from the kitchen island where she's surrounded by fabric samples and invoices from her boutique, the one Tom's been funding for 3 years while it bleeds money like a broken pipe. She looks at Brittany, then at Tom, and something cold flickers across her face. "You know what?" Monica says, setting down her wine glass with this deliberate precision, "we probably would be better off without you." The grocery bag slips from Tom's hands. Apples roll across the hardwood floor, the floor he installed 2 summers ago while Monica complained about the noise. Milk splatters against the cabinet he painted last spring. Neither of them moves to help clean it up.
8 years, Tom says quietly, his voice barely above a whisper. 8 years I've been here. Paid for this house. Put you through private school, Brittany. Funded your boutique, Monica. And this is what I get? Brittany finally looks up from her phone, and her green eyes, so much like her mother's, are filled with this casual cruelty that only teenagers can really master. "Oh, please, Tom," she says, rolling her eyes. "You act like you're some kind of hero. You're just here, like furniture that pays bills." Monica laughs, actually laughs. The sound is sharp and bitter, cutting through the kitchen like broken glass. "She's not wrong," Monica adds, sipping her wine. "When was the last time we actually needed you for anything other than your wallet?"
And bro, let that sink in for a second. This man has spent 8 years providing for these people. He's paid for everything, the house, the cars, the private school, the failed boutique business, and they're calling him furniture, a wallet with legs. Tom stares at them both, and something inside him goes very, very quiet. Not angry, that'll come later, just quiet, like the moment before a storm when all the birds stop singing. "You want me to disappear?" he asks. "God, yes," Brittany says, going back to her phone. "Maybe then Mom and I could actually enjoy living here instead of walking on eggshells around your constant brooding." "I don't brood," Tom says. "You absolutely brood," Monica adds, refilling her wine glass. "Always lurking around, making us feel guilty for having fun. Do you know how exhausting it is pretending to be happy in a marriage that died years ago?" The words should hurt more, should make him angry or sad or desperate to fight for what they'd built together. Instead, they just make him tired. Bone-deep, soul-crushing tired. He looks around the kitchen, at the granite countertops he saved for months to afford, at the stainless steel appliances Monica insisted they needed, at the family photos on the refrigerator where he's always standing slightly apart from Monica and Brittany, like an afterthought someone photoshopped in later. "Okay," he says. They both stop talking and look at him. "Okay what?" Monica asks. "Okay, I'll disappear." He turns and walks out of the kitchen, leaving the spilled groceries on the floor. Behind him, he hears Brittany say, "Finally," and Monica's laughter follows him up the stairs. In the bedroom, his bedroom, since Monica has been sleeping in the guest room for the past 6 months, he pulls out the duffel bag he uses for business trips. Here's the thing about Tom that they never bothered to learn. Before he owned a computer repair shop, he spent 12 years as a federal marshal, specializing in witness protection. He knows how to make people disappear, how to create new identities, how to erase someone's entire existence from the digital world. He packs light. Clothes for a week, his laptop and external drives, $3,000 in cash Monica doesn't know about, his passport, the Glock 19 from his marshal days, and finally, his wedding ring. He holds the gold band up to the light, remembering when Monica slipped it on his finger, crying happy tears and promising to love him forever. He sets it on her nightstand, where she'll be sure to see it. As Tom zips up the duffel bag, he can hear them downstairs. Their voices carry up through the vents. "Do you think he's actually leaving?" Brittany asks. "Please," Monica replies. "He's probably just having one of his dramatic moments. He'll be back by morning, apologizing and begging us to forgive him." "God, I hope not. I'm so tired of pretending to like him." "You and me both, honey. You and me both." Tom shoulders his bag and walks downstairs. They're still in the kitchen. Monica's opening a bottle of champagne now while Brittany takes selfies with the mess he left on the floor, probably planning to post them on social media with some caption about toxic masculinity or drama queens. They don't even look up when he walks past them toward the front door. "Where are you going?" Monica calls out, but her tone is bored, like she's asking about the weather. "I'm disappearing," Tom says, "like you wanted." He hears the cork pop on the champagne bottle as he closes the door behind him. Here's what they don't understand, what they never bothered to learn. They see Tom as a pushover, patient Tom, quiet Tom, the guy who pays the bills and fixes the Wi-Fi and never complains when Monica drops $300 on a purse or when Brittany crashes her car for the second time in 6 months. What they don't see is the man he was before he became their personal ATM. 12 years as a federal marshal specializing in witness protection. He knows how to make people disappear, how to create new identities, how to erase someone's entire existence from the digital world. He relocated families, hid witnesses, tracked down fugitives who thought they were untouchable. More importantly, he knows how modern life works, how everything's connected, how one person can control an entire family's existence just by knowing which strings to pull. As he drives away in his Ford F-150, the one vehicle titled solely in his name, he starts making mental notes. The house, purchased with his VA loan, his name on the deed. Monica was added later as a spouse, but with no ownership rights. The cars, Monica's BMW and Brittany's Honda, both financed through his credit, both with him as the primary borrower. Monica's boutique, funded entirely through a business line of credit he co-signed, secured against their house. Brittany's college tuition, sorority fees, spring break trips, a shopping habit that would make a Kardashian jealous. They've been living in a fantasy world funded by his reality. Time to wake them up. At a truck stop outside town, Tom pulls over and opens his laptop. The beauty of being a tech specialist, you learn to document everything. He has passwords, account numbers, automatic payment schedules, digital access to every aspect of their financial life. Monica thinks he's just the guy who fixes her computer when it gets slow. She has no idea he's been quietly monitoring their finances for years, watching her spend money like water while his business struggles to keep up. The boutique alone has lost $47,000 in the past 2 years. Brittany's college expenses, $60,000 this year. Not just tuition, sorority fees, spring break trips, a shopping habit that would make a Kardashian jealous. They've been living in a fantasy world funded by his reality. Time to wake them up.
Tom starts with the simple stuff. Online banking, credit card accounts, automatic payments. He has access to everything because he's the one who set it all up. Monica's technologically hopeless. She can barely operate her iPhone without help. First move? He transfers money from their joint accounts to his business account. Not stealing, just moving his own money to where they can't access it. Then he calls the credit card companies and removes Monica and Brittany as authorized users. Just like that. Click, click, done. Next, he cancels the automatic payments for Monica's boutique rent, Brittany's sorority dues, and about a dozen other monthly expenses he's been covering. By the time he finishes, it's past midnight. He checks into a motel room and tries to sleep, but his mind keeps racing. In a few hours, their carefully constructed world is going to start falling apart, and they'll have no idea why. Tom wakes up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. The calls started around 6 a.m., Monica's usual wake-up time, and the messages show a clear progression from annoyed to confused to straight-up panicked. Monica, 6:15 a.m. Where are you? Brittany needs a ride to campus. Monica, 6:47 a.m. Tom, this isn't funny. Call me back. Monica, 7:23 a.m. My card got declined at Starbucks. There must be some kind of mistake. Monica, 8:15 a.m. The boutique's rent payment was rejected. Call the bank and fix this. Brittany, 9:02 a.m. Where the hell are you? My sorority payment bounced and they're threatening to kick me out. Fix this now. Monica, 10:30 a.m. Tom, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but it's not funny. Come home and fix whatever you did to our accounts. Monica, 11:15 a.m. Please call me back. I'm scared. Tom deletes them all without responding. The motel has free coffee and stale donuts in the lobby. He sits there with his laptop, monitoring the situation he's created. His phone keeps buzzing, but he's turned off the sound. Around noon, he decides to drive past the house, not to go back, just to see how they're handling their new reality. Monica's BMW is gone from the driveway, probably repossessed. The payment was due yesterday, and with the automatic payment canceled and her cards frozen, she wouldn't have been able to cover it. Brittany's Honda is still there, but there's a notice taped to the windshield, insurance cancellation most likely. As he watches from down the street, a utility truck pulls up. 2 workers get out and walk to the side of the house where the electrical meter is. Tom had scheduled the power to be disconnected today, not out of spite, but because the account's in his name and he's no longer living there. The front door flies open and Monica comes running out, still in her pajamas, hair a mess. He can see her gesturing frantically at the utility workers. One of them hands her a clipboard. She signs something, probably a form to keep the power on temporarily. But it'll require a new account in her name and a hefty deposit. Money she doesn't have access to anymore. Tom's phone rings, Monica's name on the screen. This time, he answers. Tom, thank God, she says, voice shaking. I don't know what's happening. My cards aren't working. The boutique's payment bounced. They're trying to turn off our electricity. There must be some kind of identity theft or... There's no identity theft, Tom says calmly. Silence. What do you mean? I mean, I removed your access to my accounts. All of them.
The house is in my name, Tom continues. The cars are financed through my credit. Your boutique is funded by my business line. I built your life, Monica, and now I'm taking it back. You can't do that, she says, but her voice is small and uncertain. Actually, I can. Check the paperwork sometime. You're not on the deed to the house. You're not the primary borrower on any of the loans. You're just an authorized user on accounts that belong to me. But we're married. This is our life together. No, Tom says. This is my life that I was sharing with you. There's a difference. He can hear her crying now, soft sobs that might have moved him yesterday. Today, they just sound like the tears of someone who finally realized the consequences of their choices. Tom, please, she whispers, come home. We can talk about this. I'm sorry about what we said last night. We didn't mean it. Yes, you did. You meant every word. You wanted me to disappear, so I did. The problem is, when I disappeared, I took everything that was actually mine with me. Where are you? I'm gone, Monica, like you wanted. He hangs up and turns off the phone. Over the next 3 days, Tom watches their world collapse from a distance. He's rented a small furnished apartment across town, paying cash for the first month and deposit. Nothing fancy, 1 bedroom, basic furniture, but it's quiet and clean and mine. No one expecting him to pay their bills or fix their problems. He keeps monitoring the situation through his laptop. Monica's boutique gets locked out by the landlord after the second missed rent payment. Brittany is suspended from her sorority for non-payment of dues. The power gets shut off at the house after Monica can't come up with a deposit for a new account. Meanwhile, Tom's business is actually doing better than ever without the constant drain of Monica's expenses. He can afford to invest in better equipment, marketing. He even hires a part-time assistant, a college kid named Jake who's studying computer science. Boss, Jake says on Thursday morning, looking up from a laptop he's repairing, your phone's been buzzing all morning. Everything okay? Tom glances at his phone. 52 missed calls, all from Monica, a few from Brittany, even one from Monica's mother in Florida. Family drama, nothing I need to deal with right now. Jake nods and goes back to work. Good kid, reminds Tom of himself at that age, hungry to learn, willing to work hard. Around lunchtime, Monica shows up at the shop. She looks terrible. Hair greasy and pulled back, a messy ponytail. Same clothes from 2 days ago. Makeup smudged like she's been crying. The BMW is gone, replaced by what looks like a rental car. Tom, she says as she walks through the door, we need to talk.
Tom nods toward the back room. Take your lunch break, Jake. There's $20 on my desk. Grab something from the deli next door. Jake doesn't need to be told twice. Smart kid. When they're alone, Monica collapses into the chair across from Tom's desk. She looks exhausted, defeated in a way he's never seen before. I don't understand what's happening, she says. Everything's falling apart. They repossessed my car, the power's been shut off, Brittany had to move back home from her dorm because we couldn't pay this month's housing fee, my boutique is locked up and I can't get my inventory out until I pay 3 months back rent. Sounds rough, Tom says, not looking up from the computer he's working on. Tom, please look at me. He raises his eyes to meet hers. She looks like she's aged 5 years in the past week. I'm sorry, she says. We're both sorry. What we said the other night was cruel and stupid, and we didn't mean it. So you decided to take it out on me? Yes. No. I mean, she runs her hands through her hair. I don't know what I mean anymore. I just know that I need you to come home and help us fix this. There's nothing to fix, Monica. This is what you wanted. You wanted me gone, so I'm gone. You wanted to see what your life looked like without me in it? Here you go. But I can't live like this. We can't live like this. Do you know what it's like trying to explain to people why our power got shut off? Why my car got repossessed? Why Brittany had to drop out of her sorority? No, Tom says. I don't know what that's like, because I'm the one who's been preventing it from happening for the past 8 years. She stares at him, and for the first time, real understanding dawns in her eyes. "You did this on purpose," she whispers. "I didn't do anything except stop doing everything. There's a difference." "You're punishing us." "No, Monica, I'm letting you experience the natural consequences of your choices. You chose to treat me like I was worthless. You chose to tell me to disappear. You chose to build a lifestyle you couldn't actually afford without my help. I'm just no longer protecting you from reality." She's quiet for a long moment, staring at her hands. "What do you want? Money? An apology? What will it take for you to come home and fix this?" "I want you to understand something," Tom says. "I didn't leave because I was angry. I left because I was done. Done being taken for granted, done being treated like an ATM with legs, done pretending that what we had was a marriage instead of a financial arrangement."
"It wasn't just financial," Monica protests weakly. "We had good times. We loved each other." "When?" Tom asks. "When was the last time you said you loved me and weren't asking for money in the same conversation? When was the last time you seemed happy to see me walk through the door instead of annoyed that I was interrupting whatever you were doing?" She opens her mouth to answer, then closes it again. "That's what I thought," Tom says. 2 weeks later, Tom's old partner from the Marshal Service calls him, Marcus Webb, someone he can count on for straight talk. "Tom," Marcus says, "I heard through the grapevine you're going through a rough divorce. Your wife's been asking around about your finances, specifically whether you have any hidden assets from your Marshal days." "What kind of assets?" "The kind that might not show up on standard financial disclosure. Offshore accounts, cryptocurrency, cash holdings. She's hired a forensic accountant." Tom sits back in his chair, processing this. Monica's trying to find money that doesn't exist, probably hoping to claim half of whatever she discovers. "There's something else," Marcus continues. "She's asking about your service record, whether you ever did anything questionable, like maybe you took money from seized assets or helped witnesses disappear for the wrong reasons." The anger in Tom's chest suddenly blazes into full fury. It's one thing for Monica to lie about their marriage. It's another thing entirely to try to destroy his reputation and potentially his freedom. "Marcus, I need a favor," Tom says. "I need you to set up a meeting. Monica, her lawyer, me, and my lawyer. Somewhere neutral, somewhere official." 3 days later, they meet at a conference room in the Federal Building downtown. Monica brings her divorce attorney and her forensic accountant. Tom brings his lawyer and Marcus in his official capacity as a deputy marshal. Monica looks surprised to see Marcus, but tries to maintain composure. Tom's lawyer starts. "Mrs. Callahan, we're here because you've been making certain allegations about my client's character and financial dealings." Monica's attorney leans forward. "My client has every right to ensure full financial disclosure." "I don't have hidden assets," Tom interrupts, "but since you've been so interested in my background, let me clarify a few things." He pulls out a folder and sets it on the table. "These are my complete financial records going back 15 years. Bank statements, tax returns, business records. Every dollar I've earned is accounted for." Monica's accountant reaches for the folder. "But before you look at those, let's talk about the allegations you've been making, Monica." Marcus speaks up. "Actually, Mrs. Callahan, you did. You contacted 3 of our former colleagues asking about Tom's service record, specifically whether he'd ever been investigated for corruption. You hired a private investigator to look into his finances, suggesting he might have been involved in money laundering or asset theft." Monica's face goes pale. "You were trying to destroy me," Tom says, "because you couldn't accept that your actions had consequences, because you couldn't admit you'd thrown away a good marriage for no reason other than your own selfishness." He opens the folder and spreads out documents. "Here's the truth, Monica. Every penny I have, I earned honestly. Every asset in my name I bought with money I made running my business or saved from my marshal salary. There are no hidden accounts, no secret assets, no mysterious income streams." Her accountant is already scanning the documents, looking more confused by the minute. "But here's what you didn't understand," Tom continues. When you told me to disappear, when you made it clear you saw me as nothing more than a source of money, you gave up any claim to what I'd built. He pulls out another set of documents. These are the records of every expense I covered for you and Brittany over the past 8 years. House payments, car payments, credit cards, boutique funding, college tuition. It totals just over $400,000. Monica stares at the numbers, mouth slightly open. $400,000 I spent trying to make you happy, Tom says, and in return, you called me worthless. You told me to disappear. You made fun of me behind my back and taught your daughter to do the same. He gathers up the papers. So here's my final offer. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is a simple, no-fault divorce. We split assets fairly, you get reasonable support for a limited time, and we both move on. The hard way is I fight the adultery charges, demand repayment of every dollar I spent on your failed business, and make sure everyone knows exactly why our marriage ended. Monica's lawyer whispers urgently in her ear, but Monica isn't listening. She's staring at Tom with an expression he's never seen before. Not anger, not sadness, but recognition. I never knew, she says quietly. I never knew you were keeping track of all that. I wasn't keeping track for revenge, Tom says. I was keeping track because I loved you. It took me 8 years to realize that what you needed wasn't money or things. What you needed was to respect the person giving you those things. The room is quiet for a long moment. Finally, Monica's lawyer speaks up. We'll take the no-fault option. Good, Tom's lawyer replies. We'll have the papers drawn up by the end of the week. As they're packing up to leave, Monica catches Tom's arm. Tom, for what it's worth, I am sorry. About everything. He looks at her, really looks at her for the first time in months. She looks older, tired, worn down by her choices. I know you are, he says, but sorry doesn't change what happened. Sorry doesn't make me trust you again. Doesn't make me want to go back to being your personal ATM. I know, she whispers. Tom walks out of that conference room feeling lighter than he has in years. Not happy exactly, but free. Free from the constant stress of trying to make someone love him who was incapable of appreciating what he offered. 6 months later, Tom's sitting on the porch of a small cabin he bought in Vermont, watching his new dog, a German Shepherd mix named Ranger, chase squirrels in the yard. The divorce was finalized 3 months ago. Monica got half the value of the house after he sold it, plus limited alimony for 2 years. Brittany transferred to a state school and got a part-time job to help pay expenses. Apparently, having to contribute to her own education gave her a new appreciation for its value. Tom sold his tech repair business to Jake, who proved himself more than capable of running it. The sale gave him enough money to buy the cabin outright and start a new consulting business helping small companies with IT security. He can work from anywhere, set his own hours, choose his own clients. It's quiet up here. Peaceful. No one expects him to pay their bills or fix their problems or pretend to be happy in a life that was slowly killing him. Brittany called once, about 2 months after Tom moved to Vermont. She sounded different, less entitled, more uncertain. Tom, I wanted to apologize for everything. I know I was awful to you, and I know you didn't deserve it. Thank you, he'd replied. I appreciate that. I also wanted to ask, would it be okay if I visited sometime? Not as your stepdaughter, and not as someone who's going to solve your problems for you. If you want to visit, it would have to be as 2 adults trying to build a different kind of relationship. I understand, she'd said. I'd like that. She hasn't called back yet, but Tom thinks she might eventually. People change when they face real consequences. Sometimes they get bitter, sometimes they get better. As for Monica, Tom heard through mutual friends that she's dating David Chen, that lawyer she'd been seeing behind his back. According to the gossip, he's helping her restart her boutique business, funding it the same way Tom did for 3 years. Tom wonders if she learned anything, or if she's just repeating the same pattern with someone new. Either way, it's not his problem anymore.
Ranger trots back up to the porch and settles down at Tom's feet. He's a good companion, loyal without being needy, content to share space without demanding constant attention. The sun is setting over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. In the distance, Tom can hear a loon calling across the lake. It's the kind of moment that would have been wasted on his old life, when he was too busy working to pay other people's bills to notice the beauty around him. His phone buzzes with a text. It's from Jake back in the city. "Boss, just wanted to let you know the business is doing great. Thanks for giving me the chance. Hope you're enjoying retirement." Tom smiles and types back. "Not retired, just relocated. Glad things are working out." As he puts the phone away, he realizes something's changed in him over the past 6 months. The anger is gone. The bitterness that could have taken root never really did. He's not consumed with thoughts of revenge or regret. He's just free. Free to build a life on his own terms with people who value what he has to offer. Free to say no to demands that don't make sense. Free to walk away from situations that aren't good for him. Monica and Brittany wanted him to disappear, and in a way, he had. The version of him that was willing to sacrifice everything for people who didn't appreciate it is gone. In his place is someone stronger, someone who knows his own worth and won't settle for less than he deserves. Ranger stretches and yawns, then settles his head on Tom's feet. The mountains are dark silhouettes against the star-filled sky. Tomorrow, he'll work on a new security consultation project. Maybe take a hike down to the lake. Definitely spend some time reading on the porch. It's a simple life, but it's his, and for the first time in years, that's enough. Some calls aren't worth answering. Some people aren't worth saving from the consequences of their own choices. And some disappearances are exactly what everyone needed, even if they didn't realize it at the time. If this story hit home, comment "I chose me" down below. Hit that subscribe button for more stories about choosing your dignity over comfort. Because sometimes the best thing you can do is disappear from people who never appreciated you in the first place.